side. What is the other side? The other side is different than staying in the harbor or staying close to the shore. Sometimes it's easy to stay stuck in the same place. Any time, any moment within our lives. We love to stay in our comfort zones, don't we? And we absolutely know that change is difficult and a challenge for any one of us. And yet, if we're going to have a relationship with the God who loves us and the God who forgives us, the God that Jesus preached and the God who led Jesus through his life, then we know that that God will never leave us unchanged. That God is always calling us to another side, to another perspective, to another point of view. That's called transformation, and that's called conversion. In fact, St. Paul, the second reading, says it's a call to a new creation, to understand ourselves in a new way. And sometimes that understanding, sometimes that going to the other side can be frightening because we can feel helpless at any moment in our lives. And what does Jesus tell us to do then? We who claim to be followers of Jesus. Jesus says, just get in the boat. That's all he wants us to do. Get in the boat. And that act of faith of getting into that boat guarantees that Jesus goes with us to the other side. Faith gets us to the other side. Trust gets us to the other side. Now, we can name the things that people are afraid of. We can name the things that keep us stuck in the mud or staying in the harbor of our status quo, the status quo of our comfort zone. But God says to us, when we really accept those challenges, once we get into that boat and we decide that we're going to the other side, God says to us, do not be afraid. Did you hear that in the gospel today? Do not be afraid. What do we need to be afraid of? What are we afraid of sometimes? It could be a breakup of a long relationship, or our dreams put on hold, a dream that we held for years and years and has never been brought to fruition. And what does God say to us? God says, do not be afraid. Let me hear you. Do not be afraid. You've got to listen to those words here, but we've got to listen to these words here. Maybe it's the loss of a job. Or maybe we feel our job life is just drifting day by day and month by month and year by year. And what does God say to us? Do not be afraid. Or maybe an immigrant moves in next door to us. A person of color moves across the street. The racism and the hate that we experience in our country. The fact that 9 people could be massacred in Charleston, South Carolina over hate. It can cause all kind of fear. And what does God say to us? Do not be afraid. Because we can go to the other side in our thoughts. We can move to another point of view and understanding. We can become that new creation. Maybe it's a divorce that we're facing in our families. or with ourselves. Maybe it's a son or a daughter who announces that they are gay or lesbian. And we don't know what to do with that. We have to go to another side to understand that. And the Lord says to us, do not be afraid. We deal with the homeless and we deal with the dying. And we have to tell the dying, do not be afraid. Or we have a relative or a mother or father who has to go to a nursing home. Or we're afraid of losing our independence as we get older. And we have to listen to God say to us, do not be afraid. And so there's all kinds of ways we have to cross to that other side. But Jesus says to us, I am with you in that boat. I'm with you in that process. And what Jesus says most of all is we have to have faith in the faith that God has in us. God puts tremendous faith in us that we can do this, that we can live our Christian life, that we can be witnesses in the world of a life that is a new creation, a new way of living in this world that moves away from all of the old ways that kept us imprisoned and paralyzed in our fear. We can do great things. We can dare great things. We can expect great things. We can ask for great things. We can share great things. But the one thing we have to do in order for all of that to happen is we have to get in the boat. God bless you.